They inherited off Great Howell District Council to lease.
Oh, when it were
Great Howell District Council, yeah. So it runs out.
74, weren't it? When
74 when they took it. It's 50 years since they took over. You think there'd be like bells and whistles everywhere saying that council's been around 50 years, but seems to be like they've fallen under it. 50 years, half a century. But yeah, so obviously they inherited in 1974 this 82.4 acre lease, but it runs out in 2025. Well, yeah, but it's 82.4 acres there. Do you know what I mean? That's basically all the Great Howell.
Yeah.
Well, half of Great Howell.
Yeah.
Where the gas board is and all of that man's bottom way. Yeah, so as I said, the first registration that I've got includes their freehold. Right. So I actually got the freehold. of that, I know. Of that 82. But no, I didn't believe it myself actually when I first read it. But yeah, so obviously they've got a lease. Yeah. I could prove the lease. They give it to 3 different people, and over the years they built on it here and there. They never thought, obviously. It hasn't been registered for at least 98 years, so they obviously thought, this isn't coming back. Yeah. Well, if you've got a lease and the owner doesn't come back, you can do what you want on the land because the owner comes back again. After 12 years after the lease runs out, you can like basically adversely possess it all. Yeah. But if the freeholder comes back before the lease runs out, oh dear. And the lease hasn't run out until 2025. And as I say, so when my first registration comes in, I want to know what contingencies what contingencies have the council got in place? Do you know what I mean? An 82.4 acre lease that you've got to give back in the conditions that you got it in as a field. Now it's full of properties on Bottom Way. The whole industrial estate was a field, and now it isn't. But when the lease runs out, I want the field back, not the buildings. So.
Buildings to
well,
get field back.
Well, they don't work like that. So basically, they'll have to give me all of the buildings and give it.
Well, you think, wouldn't you?
No, I don't think that's the law, and then they'll have to give me compensation for it.
Yeah.
You see, in 1982, the council repossessed the pallet yard on Allenman's Bottom Way because Hayes Lane went right through it. They repossessed the pallet yard, but then instead of getting rid of the building, they got rid of the road. How silly of them! Because it was adopted until November of last year. Yeah. So basically, from 1982 to November of last year, the public have been paying for a road that's not there. Well, it's a lot of money to pay for a road that's not there. Obviously, LCC took the licence back off Hyndburn Borough Council in 2006. So basically, it's like LCC and Hyndburn Borough Council that are responsible for not maintaining a public highway. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now it's reverted back to me. Obviously, I want access. So where that building that the council didn't bother pulling down in 1983 is still there, well, now it's my access. So now I can pull it down. But
let's make a fresh access.
Well, the road. It's not a fresh access. The road's been there since 1850. So all I'm doing is putting the road back. It's not a new one. Just putting the old one back. Access supersedes buildings. Yeah. But unfortunately for the council, they went ahead and sold Onward a load of property, didn't they? And Onward have built 49 houses that aren't on the local plan, and Keepmore built 350 houses that aren't on the local plan. Unfortunately for the council, Keepmore and Onward, my road goes through that estate, and they've actually built houses on it. Yeah. Well, that means I can repossess Onward and Keepmore. That means actually, technically speaking, that's £100 million worth of Keepmore houses and £12 million of the Onward houses. Onward paid the council £2.4 million for that land, on a lease, £2.4 million.
That'd be a rich man.
Well, I didn't pay me £2.4 million, they paid the council £2.4 million for the lease. But obviously, the council jumped the gun because they moved on to the land in 2014, so adverse possession wouldn't occur until 2025. Yeah. Well, they sold it too quick, didn't they? Yeah. So when I come along and repossess it, because no one saw it, because it didn't. But anyway, it's only repossessed, but
can of worms.
Well, not for me. I mean, I haven't been raping that lease for the past 48 years.
Yeah. Peter's going to perform gymnastics in the middle.
All right, no, Dad. How are you? Oh. As usual, ignorant self. All right, yeah, not too bad.
No, you got a lot. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, you.
Not too bad.
Are you all set for the election, no, Dad? May's election, no, Dad? Are you all set for it? Of course, you cheated, didn't you, on the elections last year, so you're going to get bored this year, aren't you? If Jane pulls a finger out and does a job. You know they cheated last year, did you, on the elections? Terrible, terrible. I give them all donations, but they didn't declare it. That's cheating. Cheating on the expenses. Oh dear, it's criminal. It's criminal. £66.60 I give them. The Greens, Labour, and the Conservatives. They're giving me back. You're not allowed to give a donation back. It's just law. And then you're not allowed to not mark it down on your expenses sheet. You think Dad being an accountant would know that, but obviously he didn't. Well, I did. So when he declares, like obviously in May, within the first 3 days, I can get him sacked. Nah, that's for me. The video we haven't started yet, so I can say what I want, can't I, until we start. Yeah. All right there, Dad. I'm not Conservatives cheated as well, so I told me they'll get to do. My seat's going to be safe. And the Greens.
Sit on back row and you don't like.
The records are there for everybody to see. You know, it's the public knowledge.
Yeah.
Have a look, pull the expenses for them. You'll see that they didn't put that £66.60 donation in from myself, my company. Handing for change. Limited. It hasn't started yet. Starts at 3. Starts at 3. So don't
Calm
tell
down
me.
a bit, calm down.
Look, there's Jane. We've worked up about this. 82.4 acre lease. You know. Big time fraud. Anyway, it'll all come out in the wash or the press.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Martin, thanks very much.
Are you all sorted?
Yeah, Dave's turn this time, mate. Thank you.
What do you think of the Accrington Stanley being like the refusal of the planning permission? That was a bit iffy, wasn't it?
Aye, where?
No, I mean, they thought it was a foregone conclusion. That's why they didn't send anybody. They didn't think they were going to lose. Obviously, they reached the wrong hands.
Oh dear. The lights in here do that light. Yeah. When you go into Tesco, them lights stay on the mirror, stay on the side.
Potential bankruptcy. It's not good, is it?
All right, Monty.
They're all like speaking blindfolded into 2025. Oblivious. Jane's obviously done a good job hiding that lease from everybody. But the freeholder, but you didn't know who it was, I suppose.
Yeah.
What, sorry? They're all like they're all right, isn't it? Well, you know, I thought there were going to be some fireworks. He likes a few fireworks. Keeps him alive. I like a few fireworks myself. Like keeps the meeting going, doesn't it? Good afternoon, Peter. How are you?
Okay.
Yeah, good do. Oh, Hyman's on the verge of going bust when this lease comes out. You know, they've got a lease that runs out in 2025, and the freeholders wants his land back. Which lease? The 2.4 acre lease. They got it in 1925 from the old district council. For 82.4 acres. Yeah, I know. It's a big chunk of land. Basically, all around Ramsbottom Way, where the gas void is, Cadence, and where Slingers was. And obviously, well, if you drive past all the fields, you can see where Hyndburn Borough Council have fenced it off. I think they're going to put housing up there where the old football field was. You know, where the old football ground was in Great Harwood. I think Borough Council would fence it off with a sign saying do not pass, and that they're going to build on there. I'm pretty sure Keepmore have probably got options on it, not too sure. Similarly, if you look at Torrent Avenue, there's like all the roads have like ended where the field is. I think they've got options on there as well. We'll find out in 2025. You know what I mean? All this housing that's planned for Great Harwood. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't report on the 350 houses that Keepmore built that aren't on the local plan. I mean, that's quite newsworthy. But obviously, hands must have been greased.
Yeah.
It's also built on the old original Hayes Lane, you know, so when the owner wants that back for his access, they'll get repossessed. That'll be newsworthy, won't it? 100 million quid of the property. 12 million that Onward have paid as well. God, I tell you.
Yeah.
That guy's sitting pretty, isn't he? When that land's first registered. Call it a scoop. Check it out, obviously. Oh, you're a reporter. Have a look.
Welcome everybody to the January Cabinet meeting, and before we begin, I'm going to ask Julian if he can read out some housekeeping arrangements.
Okay, well, thank you for your attention, everybody. This is the emergency evacuation procedures. So the alarm bell rings for more than 10 seconds. Please stop what you're doing and leave immediately. Do not return to collecting personal items. Please leave by the double doors through which you entered this afternoon, and report to the assembly point, which is next to the skate park. The fire marshal will be available there. If the main exit is blocked, which is unlikely, but there's an alternative fire exit there on the side of the room, so please use that one when it ends up downstairs in the same place. Don't try and enter the building afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any apologies for absence apart from Councillors Marlin and Howard? Any declarations of interest and dispensations? Right, before we actually start the cabinet meeting, I have given you all a copy of a letter that I wrote yesterday to the leader of Lancashire County Council. The letter goes, I understand that you are currently considering the possibility of parking meters in towns across Lancashire. I know that you are keen to distinguish between the areas that would welcome parking meters and areas where they will be regarded as damaging to town centre regeneration. In Hyndburgh's case, you know that we are making great strides forward in regenerating our town centre through the Levelling Up Fund, and it is important to us that we do not do anything to deter shoppers and visitors to our town centres. For this reason, I wish to be clear that we would not support the introduction of parking meters in Hyndburg, and I trust that you will respect this position. I've already had a reply from County Councillor Williamson who has said that the letter I've written is very helpful. Now then, we now move on to item 3, which are the minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on the 6th of December. I now move the minutes of the meeting.
I will second this.
Are we all agreed?
Can I just confirm? Item 219. At the Cabinet briefing last week, members were made aware of the fact that the Resources Overview and Scrutiny Committee has released in full the calling decision about the grant to Hyndburg Leisure. The release of the calling decision is not usually reported as a formal written report to Cabinet, so this matter will not appear on the agenda. Just wanted to update on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So we're all in favour of the minutes, aren't we? Yeah. We now move to item 4, the minutes of the various groups. Are there any comments? This is just for noting, so we now move to item 5, verbal reports from cabinet members. If anybody has any announcements to make now. Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. Just a couple of things I just wanted to cabinet update on this. We are making a very, very good progress regarding Market Hall, and as from Thursday and Friday, the traders, some of the traders will be done in front of Market Hall, outside, and also next Thursday and Friday in front of Town Hall. We still got little bits to catch up with the cabins, and I think that'll be done next Wednesday when market is closed, so nobody is disturbed and doesn't affect the trade. So I visited the Market Hall the other day and spent quite a lot of time there, and got the update, and everybody seems to be pleased with the progress we're making. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Now move on to item 6, which is to move the council tax base for 24-25. It's our statutory duty to do this, and there is a requirement. So I move the recommendation as set out in the report.
I'll second that, Chair.
Any comments? Okay, can I have a show of hands, please?
No comment.
Thank you. Item 7 has been withdrawn. We now move to item 8, revenue budget management. Martin, would you like to come in on this? Okay. So item 7.
That's been withdrawn.
Item 8, sorry.
Yeah.
It's on page 43. So this report informs the Cabinet of the financial spending of the Council up to the end of December 2023 for the financial year 23-24 and the forecast impact on the Council's medium-term financial strategy. I move that Cabinet notes the report and asks CMT to continue to monitor the financial position of the Council over the remaining months of the year. I also would recommend that Cabinet notes the potential pressures and risks highlighted in section 6 of this report, and that regular updates will be provided on any potential impact on the current forecast underspending the year and the future medium-term financial strategy. Are there any comments? Okay, so I move. Oh, sorry, do that.
Thank you, Councillor Whitcliffe. In terms of the report, obviously there's still forecast to have an underspend, given throughout the year there's been allocation made to utilise the underspend, like with Hyndburn Leisure, like with the community chest, like with the leaders' budget. I believe also right at the beginning of the year you had Uncoat Garden Village 500,000 to source consultant. Have we got a breakdown what's the underspend has been utilised against so far? Because it seems to me we just need a running total of what we've got this underspend and what it's been allocated against. Because if I remember right at the beginning, you had the Uncoat Garden Village to employ consultants to get the report, which is still not put into fruition. It's just seeing what the running total is, if there is a breakdown, and also in terms of the non-service, which seems to be always a larger number going forward, and its budget is setting in the next month. Could we get a breakdown of how that's made up? Because I think there's so many things within it. It'll just be for all readers. It'd be a useful tool to have. So it's a couple of questions. First of all, do you understand what has it been allocated again, and what the running total of that is, and also the non-service budget line? Could that be broken down?
Yeah, can I bring you in, Martin? Martin, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I mean, the report spells out the movement between the underspend at Q2 and Q3, and it highlights those movements in the table quite clearly. Obviously, since the last report, there has been the approval for the subsidy payment to the Leisure Trust. There was also 175,000 agreed previously to transfer to reserves to fund a contingency for the Wilson site. I'm more than happy to put some additional, or talk through that with Councillor Aziz at a later point. If there's any other understanding to that, but that table clearly shows the movements since the last report. With regard to Huncote Village, the funding for the Huncote Village consultancy work is actually being funded from the General Reserve, and that was approved by Cabinet to fund that from General Reserve, so it's not actually coming out of revenue underspends in the year.
Okay. Am I right, Martin, in assuming that after all the things that we've actually added in to the budget from the underspend, we have something like a balance of 460,000 surplus?
Yeah.
So by the very good management that there's been, there is still 460,000 pounds surplus after we've had a leaders budget to community chess, and also we've taken in the furniture pickups, haven't we?
Sorry, one of the questions that Councillor Aziz asked was around the non-service items, and within the report, detail for the non-service items are in relation to things such as investment incomes and investment interest that the council generates from its cash balances, and also how it manages its capital financing. And I'm more than happy that when we meet and discuss next week, I can explain a bit more detail on that.
Yeah. Just a follow-up question, Chair, if I may. All we want to know is how much the underspend is and where it's been allocated. I know there are some funds for civic theatre that have been, taken up from that. Just how many underspend there is up to date and where it's been allocated.
More question?
Just if you, I've got another question, Councillor Britcliffe.
Well, I've taken a question each off either of both of you, so I'm going to move on actually now. So all those in favour of the revenue budget? Wonderful. Thank you. Item 9 is capital programme. So we now move to item 9, which is capital programme monitoring. This report provides an update of the report Cabinet of the Council's capital programme monitoring. It sets out the latest phasing of the programme, including the latest estimate of available resources and any additions or charges and forecast out since the last current position was presented to the Council meeting on the 23rd of February 2023. And the recommendations are that Cabinet notes the progress on capital expenditure to date. So I will so move. Right, so. 77, page 77 is the Prudential Indicators Monitoring and Treasury Management Strategy update. So we do, it says in my briefing note that it's item 9, but in fact it's item 10. I move the recommendations as set out in the report. And I move.
I'll second that.
Are we all agreed? Thank you. Item 11 is disposal of land on Dale Street, Accrington, and I think it's in the capable hands of Councillor Cathcart.
Right, this report seeks Cabinet approval to dispose of 2 plots of land on Dale Street, Accrington. The 2 sites are vacant or open space with no specific purpose. Both sites have been advertised and the highest offer for the 2 combined sites is £120,000. The sites have been valued and at £120,000 is deemed to reflect market value. I move the report.
Councillor Smithson,
Yeah,
are you going to second the report?
I will second the report and
Chair.
yeah,
Councillor
yeah.
Smithson.
So thanks Councillor Pratt and obviously Mark for the work he's done behind the scenes with Dale Street. I know Dale Street is an area that's been blighted by fly tipping, antisocial behaviour, so I'm pleased that we've actually got to a point where we're actually selling the land. So thanks to Mark and his team for the work.
Councillor Eunice.
Thank you, Chair. I think since going back a few months, the land on Hindburn Road has been put into use, planning being granted. Land back of Charter Street has been agreed to develop houses, land on Dale Street now. They're all in my ward, fortunately. And I'm so pleased that those ISOs and fly tippings, as Councillor Smithson said, it's good to see that the lands are going to be developed for badly needed houses for our residents. So I'm very pleased, and I think there may be few plots of land that will come up and will lead in good paths. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so shall we take the
Chair.
vote? All those in favour?
Sure. Just a question.
Just one.
One. The plot of land at the back of Blackburn Road, I think it's behind church. Just for clarification, if I may, there is some land there, some space that is leased to the church. The land next to
Councillor Dad, can you address the question to me?
Yeah. There is a plot of land which is leased to the church on Blackburn Road. Is this plot of land addition to the lease that is already got, or was it the land that was leased to the church, but I think the council is thinking of selling it?
Can you start?
I don't think I can answer that here and now. I think if I could take that up separately.
Yeah, we'll give you a written response. So we'll see you shortly. So all those in favour? Thank you. Item 12 is we now move to item is on weight management services, and I believe it's in the hands of Councillor Sedgwick Number.
Thank you, Chair. This report is for the Cabinet to make a decision on the future provision of a weight management service in Hindburn. In early 2023, Lancashire County Council invited the 12th District Council to the submit expression of interest to collaborate with the county on the future delivery of weight management service across Lancashire. The council submitted our expression of interest and have been discussions since then on the future delivery on the service. The level of excess of overweight adults and children in the Lancashire continue to increase and working collaboratively. Provides the opportunity to reshape and redesign the service in Hyman. Currently, weight management service are delivered locally on behalf of the council by Hyman Leisure. This report seeks approval to enter into a collaboration agreement with LCC to continue this service and appoint Hyman Leisure to deliver this service on our behalf. I move this recommendation as outlined in section 2 of the report.
And I will second.
The funding that's been allocated, or the organisation that's been identified as Hyman Leisure, they're only given 1 year contract. Is that right?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Right, all those in favour?
Could I ask a
Well, your leader's asked a question, so...
with all due respect, Councillor,
I don't intervene you. I'm moving to the vote.
If this
All
is
those in favour?
unbelievable.
Where's the
We just call it into scrutiny.
Right,
If you're not going to let us, we'll just call everything in, Councillor Brickland. And we're
I understand.
we're quite adept at it. Either give us the respect as the opposition to ask a question, or we'll call everything in. It's up to you. It's quite clear. We're adept at it. We'll call everything in. We can play the game.
Right, can I say that your leader's entitled to ask a question? I didn't realise you as deputy were entitled to ask a question. But your leader had already asked a question, and I was starting to take the vote when you put your hand up.
No, I had mine up clearly, Councillor.
Well,
if you're not going to let us speak, we'll call everything in.
Well,
you can't say.
If you want to play to the fingers, you can, but if you want to ask the question, by all means ask it.
In terms of, if you're going to let me, I will appreciate that, but it's up to you, you're the chair. If you look, it's a 12-week programme, and it is over 200 people. And what the only sort of request is, why can't these individuals who are on this weight management scheme be given membership for the whole year? Given Hyman Leisure membership is £250, and if you do the sum, the weight programme costs 300 over 12 weeks. Surely it might be better to offer them the membership of the Hyman Leisure, and as part of this, it might be a better way to make sure to get the whole year as a solution. That is a pragmatic request that the membership for a year is 250.
I understand the question. Councillor Mahmood?
Yeah. I will contact Lindsay Simpson and get back to you
Thank you.
with the responses.
Right, okay.
So,
Yeah.
thank you, Chair. I think the report is very much explanatory, and it states very clearly what the aim of this funding that we're going to get. And I think it's a good start, and I think we should approve the report, and if we can get something additional done to it, by all means. But I think the report's in front of us, and I would recommend that. I would suggest the report should be accepted.
Okay, so it's been moved and I've seconded it. All those in favour? Right, item 13 now. I would like to invite Councillor Peter Edwards, Chair of the Communities and Wellbeing Overview and Scrutiny Committee, to present the report and its recommendations.
Thank you. This report is to inform Cabinet of the vital support provided to the residents by Citizen Advice East Lancashire, and seek Cabinet support to continue to provide financial and other support for the service. In December, the Communities and Wellbeing An Overview and Scrutiny Committee received a report which detailed the work carried out by Citizens Advice locally. The service provided support and advice to over 1,600 Pineburn residents, and last year helped them to gain $250,000 for additional benefits and write off over $300,000 in debts, amongst other support. The Council provided an annual grant to Citizens Advice in previous years. The recommendations from the Scrutiny Committee are outlined in paragraph 3.7R. The Cabinet agrees to include a minimum grant in line with the previous year for Citizens Advice East Lancashire in its 24-25 budget proposal. Item 2. The Cabinet considers an increase to the grant for Citizens Advice East Lancashire in its 24-25 budget. The proposals are due to the current demand on the service from Pineburn residents. Thank you, Chair.
Well, thank you, Councillor Edwards. Well, Cabinet does consider that Citizens Advice is a vital organisation that provides much needed assistance to people in our community. They are experts in a wide range of areas, from debt advice to housing issues, and they always go the extra mile to help people get the support that they need. The Council has a long history of supporting Citizens Advice locally by way of an annual grant, and we will continue to do so. As the budget setting time for 2024-25 approaches, we will consider whether or not we are in a position to increase the grant going forwards.
Chair? Thank you. I think Citizen Advice is a very important organisation trying to help residents of Pineburn. Just wanted to ask a question, then a couple of observations, Chair. The £25,000 that has been proposed, is that the money that they asked for, or is that the money the council is going to provide? Is that the money they asked for?
I don't understand the question.
The £25,000 being proposed to give to CAB. Yeah, what they asked for. Did they ask for more than 25, or is it the £25,000 that they requested?
Councillor Cox.
I know when I was the chair of Wellbeing last year, it went through as a recommendation from the Citizens Advice. I'm not 100% sure it does. I don't know if it says that, but that's the usual way it goes through.
The only reason I asked that question was that Chair, the social value this particular funding gives, Cavan overall, is every £1 invested, £14 in public value is bringing back. Wouldn't it make sense if we can actually increase the funding to CAB because of the benefits to the wider community that it is currently having and the demand on their work, because we do a lot of referrals to CAB and they seem to be overwhelmed with the work currently.
I think I actually already have said to you, Councillor Dad, that this will be considered at budget time.
Well, I'm just reinforcing
I mean, we can't set the budget today, but we can, as we go forward, consider whether we can afford
that is the request,
this year. And that I answered previously.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So now we're going to move on to the supplemental. Sorry.
We need a mover and a second.
Oh, yeah, so I'll move the recommendation. Are we all agree? Right, we now move on to the Economic Development Progress Update on the supplemental agenda, number 1. I would like to invite the capable hands of Councillor Zach Can to present the report on the Economic Development Progress.
Thank you, Chair. This is a report just to update the Cabinet on the updating progress of the economic development function. I'm not asking for anything specific, but given the amount of work that's been going on over the last 6 months in particular, I thought it was prudent to just update Cabinet colleagues about the progress. So this recommendation is just to note the progress and to note the reports, but I'm going to go around some background just very briefly, I'm not going to go and read through the whole report, but essentially, as we know, the council has approved a new corporate strategy, which when we were consulted upon, I pushed for the words ambitious and sustainable to be put in there, and to really bolster out a lot of the employment and business growth related things that we need to see throughout Hyndburn to carry on to see it increase as a prosperous area. So, as we know from the background, I'm not going to go over it, but under the hands of my colleague Councillor Eunice, there's a lot of allocation of money and funding being spent very well within the town centre, 20 million levelling up, 3 million, 20 million of the funding package over the next 10 years. Really good announcement of Great Harwood Accelerated High Street funding. There's a whole raft of initiatives being developed there to support our economic development function, which we've heard a lot about, including the UK Share Prosperity Fund. So that's just a bit of a background in relation to other stuff that is going on that feeds into the economic development of the area. The local plan, as we know, is currently back out for consultation, and as part of that local plan, there are recommendations there to have the increase of both Whiteberg and Altham South business parks, which will provide really necessary and needed employment zones within the borough. There are not enough, there's nowhere really else where that they can expand, so that's been providing with a huge amount of support, and already had a lot of interest in that from existing businesses who are looking to expand, not just ones from outside of the borough. As you know, and what came to this cabinet previously was the signing of the Federation of Small Business Local Leadership Pledge, and since that point we've been engaging with them regularly on those 3 points, and we're out recruiting a new development manager on their side to continue that work. The Economic Policy Forum is the next point downwards, which has been a huge success. And simply the reason why that's been a huge success is because we've had some of the biggest businesses in Hyndburn around the table to thrash out the challenges that they're facing and what support the council can give them, and also what support they can give the council. The last one was last week, the most recent one, second meeting, which took a massive different tone, which was a lot more positive in the relationship that we've now got with the council. Mark Hall attended that, as well as Salma Chowdhury, our Economic Development Manager, and we were able to, one, update businesses on the status of things going on, as aforementioned, the local plan and others, so that they can actually plan ahead in their business terms and release that Chamber of Commerce. And the CEO there, Miranda Parker, is exceptionally capable of bringing people together. Business-wise, we've got a really positive working relationship, which moving forward we'll see quite a lot of outcomes and strategies coming out of it, which the council will work practically with business leaders to do. And that is, I really enjoy attending those meetings. It's been really, really fruitful for both us and them. Our Economic Development Manager, Salma, doesn't stop, and she's put on another lot of mini business workshops on the back of some learning and some listening of both residents, local businesses, small businesses, large businesses, etc., to understand what's the challenges, what's the difficulties, and where do they need better communication from our end. So, for example, what boost support there is. There's criticism of not necessarily understanding planning applications. So now this workshop's being developed with those, Retailers Against Crime and others, and they will continue just to give a lot more communication and support to businesses moving forward. And they're being developed and can be booked into by any business in the area. UK Share Prosperity Fund, I'm not going to go through that, as we all know what's going on there in relation to that being spent, but obviously part of that, our economic development function and manager is a part of that spend as well, which has been a huge turnaround in Hyndburn's economic policy. Again, meeting with business leaders, you can see a few bits there in relation to examples of what Salma and I have been doing, and we often do them together, or she is, and just looking at businesses looking to move into the area. We've been helping them support them on a one-to-one basis, looking for land, looking for space, etc., and also to expand. Community outreach to others, our Lancashire Business Day, which was a huge success here. And we've also got, just as a testament to what Hyndburn is doing now, we had the Lancashire Business Day in Hyndburn, and we've got the Festival of Business for the whole of Lancashire in Hyndburn again in February. So, it's a vote of confidence from Lancashire businesses and the people operating those kind of networking events that Hyndburn is listening and is a place to now do business. Communication has massively expanded, and we've obviously gone on to look at other areas around employment and skills, because without good employment, without good skills to back the backdrop of those businesses, then they won't be as successful. So we've also been able to develop those meetings outwards, and we have those regularly, like the Economic Policy Forum, to see how we can work better together with the DWP, other people at First Call and others working and boosting skills necessary. And that's something that has had a huge start, because they were often fragmented, and we put them in the same room here and others, the Better Academy and Southern Community Trust last week on the same day as the Economic Policy Forum, and now we've got people linking with one another to do a lot of good work. So there's a lot there, Chair, but there's a lot of work being done, and thanks to both Mark, Salma and the team for doing such a significant amount of work in such a small amount of time.
Yeah. Thank you for that good news story.
Thank you.
I noticed in particular that Councillor Aziz and Councillor Dad actually didn't take a word of it in because they were too busy on their phones. Councillor Eunice.
Thank you, Chair.
Reading the report, Chair.
No.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Councillor Khan, it was a pleasure reading your report. Excellent report, and you've done very well since you took over this portfolio. And I think we work together as Levelling Up and developing the town centre. And it's a pleasure working with you as a team, and you do a magnificent job. And I think for years, town centre has never been looked at, so it'll take some time to develop, obviously, but we're on it, and I think this is a very good read and very good report, and I compliment your enthusiasm for the developing of town centre. Well done, Mr. Councillor Carr.
Right. Councillor Aziz.
In terms of the report, the draft local plan, again, releasing lots of new industrial land. Can you confirm whether any of our businesses have had to relocate because of not being able to get enough land? And what if they have relocated, because there's a business that has come to my attention, what steps have been taken to address this, and is this almost a report that what's the saying, after the horse has bolted, shutting the stable doors after the horse has bolted? Because clearly it's welcome, but is it this a step too late? Because clearly they're great ideas, but they should have come before. Is that too?
Yeah, so I can answer that, Chair, if you don't mind. So on the basis of businesses leaving the area, it's actually been the opposite. There was one actually came to me and wanted to leave and go to Burnley or neighbouring, and we've actually been able to encourage them to stay on the basis of the communication we've had with them. And there's a large company who sits in our Economic Policy Forum. So actually by doing a lot of this stuff, we've avoided it getting worse. So we've actually stopped it. And on the basis of the horse bolting and it being too late, I never think something's too late, Councillor Aziz. Essentially, Labour were in charge 10 years prior, and if it was too late, we've only been in 6 months, and look at the amount of work that's been done for 6 months. But actually, if we're going to do something, we have to start somewhere, and you may think it's too late, let's just give up. But I've got a different optimistic and positive view of the way that hands will go, and that is simply to do what we can in the time we've got to make it a better place to live and do business.
I think we as the Conservatives leading the council are extremely pro-business, and I think that Councillor Zach exemplifies the way we are pro-business. Right, that report is just for noting. We now move on to present the report on domestic energy efficiency measures. Again, it's Councillor.
Yep, thank you. This report, just essentially, I'm going to go through in a little bit less detail, is looking at some of the progress that our Home Energy Reduction Officer has taken, and our Housing Strategy Manager since his employment back in August. So a lot of work's being done, but what essentially he was doing initially was looking at an overview of what the government expectations and national picture is for reducing carbon emissions, looking at what's already been installed, gathering that information, because you can't look at the strategy moving forward without having the information, and a summary of approach to be taken by the council to promote the funding opportunities and support to residents. So, a part of this, I recommend that they just take note of the challenges reducing carbon emissions in Hindman's housing stock, and the steady progress being made to reduce the carbon emissions, especially residential properties, through the good funding schemes, and also steps taken to engage and improve household awareness. And what Tim has done is look at where you know there's a huge amounts of lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, and lack of things going on, and people accessing the funding that's out there. And what you'll see from this report is some of it acknowledging that another lot has been done from the from Cosy Homes, Lancashire and Hindman, and that's why we brought Tim in, and that's why we recruited Tim to be able to focus specifically on residential stock, because there's a lot of poverty in Hindman's housing stock, and especially fuel poverty, and we need to massively get all the funding we can into this area. So the report essentially sets out what's missing, what's being done at the moment, and then at the end of that, which is the resident and stakeholder engagement, is what I asked for was to look at, okay, now we know where we're at, where we're going next, and Tim, through his energy engagement plan, has set out his key priorities around raising the awareness and overcoming those challenges that he's set out. So we have a long way to go in Hindman in relation to our housing stock and residential stock, but having Tim now as a dedicated post of focusing on the data, making sure we apportion the right support to the right people and engage on a local level. He even goes out door knocking to make sure residents are aware. And I'd encourage any councillors who know of anyone or anyone at all, anyone who needs a support for their house and to maybe able to access service to come forward and ask Tim to get in contact with those people. A lot of work needs to be done, but we're starting here, and we're starting now. But that's where I'm at with that, Chair. I can answer any questions in relation to the report.
Chair, I have met Tim on a number of occasions, and I think he's got some pamphlets ready now as well, and we have been able to, advise him that there are certain groups that he can actually go and present. What is available and how people can access. So yes, absolutely, the more information is put out to the public, the more people will come forward and benefit from what is available. I think there has been that lack of coordination. I'm glad that this has been brought forward, and as I said, we've got a good individual there who's working very hard, and let's hope we can try and get this message out to the residents.
Through you, Chair, again, just to echo Councillor Khan around the challenges around our housing stock and the challenges around and difficulties around retrofitting and the cost. Given retrofitting over the next 10 to 15 years will be an area, whatever colour of government that comes to fruition needs to address, because it's going to be an area that, heat source pumps may not be viable because of the cost. Have we looked about seeing if we can approach government, be a test pilot case given our housing stock, to really drive innovation in the retrofitting? Because I think it's going to require thinking outside the box to address this, and this goes beyond political points, because I think what I'd like to see is actually see if we can make the case to government around in a test case, because ultimately you look at the M65 corridor, we've got similar housing stock challenges, and at some point one of us has to say this is how we're going to do it differently. And I think as a follow-up, if it's actually lobby government to see if we can do a case study to do that. I'm happy to work collaboratively, but I think this goes beyond politics, and I think if we are serious about addressing it, that is something I'd definitely champion, because ultimately, whatever size it is, this is an area of the next decade that we do need to address.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair. Totally agree, Councillor Aziz, and actually, so in relation to your point around being a test pilot, there's actually already a test pilot going on in Rosendale Valley Energy, who are doing a scheme which is called Decarbonised Street, and I'd encourage you to actually look at that. There's some information online in that regard. And I've been to a number of those meetings in Rosendale, which they held in Bacup, and what they're doing is essentially They've got Ken's heat pumps and all that involved in allocating. All they're doing now is allocating 2 streets, and that's where they're up to. And I had a meeting with Rosendale Council literally last week with their cabinet member for this area, which is in the way you mentioned about cross-party, cross-politics. I actually approached them to work more closely together on a council-to-council basis, and that's a Labour-controlled council, Labour cabinet member, and we've now got that through where we're working and having regular, quarterly meetings to look at sharing good practice. But in relation to the decarbonised pilot scheme, that is already happening in Rosendale. What I've essentially said to Rosendale is, you make the mistakes, you come up with the best case, we'll pitch it off you when it's right, because essentially it just needs to be done, it needs to be rolled out throughout East Lancashire. What I am now developing is a more East Lancashire based net zero working arrangement where we can work more closely together as councils, cross-party, so that we can start tackling our housing stock more efficiently, more financially viable, and make sure we do it faster.
Right, thank you. That report is for noting, so there's no vote to be taken. We now move to item 18 on supplemental agenda number 1, page 161, and I'd like to invite Councillor Cathcart to present the report on affordable water policy.
Lancashire County Council has made available a grant award to Hindley Borough Council to help vulnerable households who are most at risk to harm from cold or damp houses. The main beneficiaries of the funding include those on low income, those living in thermally inefficient homes, households with high heating needs, and those with high fuel costs. The specific eligibility criteria is outlined at Appendix 1 of the report. This report seeks Cabinet approval to accept the funding and enter into a grant agreement with Lancashire County Council. I move the report.
Thank you. I second that report, and this is very welcome monies into Hindley from Lancashire County Council. So no problem in supporting it.
Chair, question. This funding is for 2023 and 2024. We're nearly in February. Is that something that the funding is allocated and needs to be spent by 31st of March this year, or is it something that can be rolled over, or a bit too late for this particular year? If it's 23-24?
Well, I don't think it will be too late, but we will give you more detailed reply on that. So all those in favour? Thank you. Right, we now move on to the in the report, if you read the report, it says that the money is expected to be spent by the end of May 2024. So we've got January, February, March, April, 4 months, nearly 5 months to spend the money. Right, okay, now we're going to move on to supplemental agenda number 2, which came to you very late. And the reason for that is that it has taken a long time to sort it out. We had 83 expressions, 83 people, 83 organisations wanting grant money to the tune of £300,000. As you know, we only had £80,000 in this budget, so it's been very difficult to sort. I'm now going to give you till 4 o'clock for you to have an adjournment and to be able to take this report in. And if you need longer, just let me know, please. Yeah. Okay? So the meeting's adjourned.
We were happy to continue, that's what we were discussing.
Is there a hard copy available?
By the way, is there an appropriate time frame to be releasing reports? Getting it midway through. Okay, Cabinet, I don't think
that is why I'm giving you an adjournment, so you have time.
I think it's very disrespectful, really disrespectful.
Loving it. Put the adjourning for so we can discuss on who's getting what. But basically what it is.
Yeah, I'll follow you guys.
So you email the exchange of letters about that.
I think Peter should have mentioned I was filming, but he didn't. Hey ho.
I'll get that this afternoon.
I think I mentioned it at the end.
Yeah.
Well, in the interest of transparency, I won't stop it. I'll just put it there.
You could increase it by about 9%, it'd be less than
Give me your press release.
Shut up.
The inflation rate is 4% at the moment.
Yeah, right, okay.
Get it in, Peter, get it in.
Council tax might go up 10%. No big deal.
This now, Burnley Full Council tonight. I've got Blackburn Council Forum tomorrow.
Why did you get it?
6:30 tonight, 6 o'clock tonight.
When is the community centre being?
Not enough pages in the paper, are there?
Correct.
Well, you know, gets less and less that advertising. That's who you represent. Got 7 pages on that one.
It's not changed that from time over.
Yeah.
Well, the question that we often ask leaders who deal with kind of politics from the outside is Peter Brickley like he is politics is a snake pit, or is Hymebell politics a snake pit because of Peter Brickley?
Second.
Lots of lies, you see, that's why it's different. Too many porkies, too many secrets. Split a meeting up into eight different meetings and make every councillor goes to different ones. None of them know what's going on. You're going to go to 8 meetings to find out. I mean, you know, you go to these meetings, like some of them, not all, but you go to some of them, so you know them. Not all the same councillors are in the same meeting, so how can they possibly know what's going on? Do you know what I mean? Keep them all in dark. Cabinet knows what's going on, obviously, because Cabinet get all the reports, but, you know, everybody else they keep in dark. Got no idea what's going on, you know. I mean, look at Homewood Homes. They had 1.5 million for to protect the trees, and then cut up after a £30,000 tree survey, and then cut all the trees down. That 1.5 million that they paid to the council to protect the trees for woodland protection, the council spent on doing green surveys for all their properties. They actually just ran out of money like a few months ago. Like, that's one of the reasons why Mercer Road shut down, because it didn't pass the green credentials. It would have cost £1 million to put a new boiler in. It had nothing to do with the leaking roof or the leaking pool. It rolled down to your boiler. They put a boiler in Highland Sports Centre, cost them £780,000. There was nothing wrong with the old boiler, but the government initiative said they had to change from gas to electric, so they had to change from gas to electric. But doesn't matter for the council, because the council have the wind farm at the top of Aussie. So actually the council don't pay for any electric, and they get money back. They didn't tell that's a Hindman Leisure though when they actually told them how much of their electric bill were, did they? See, like I say, people don't know all of these little secrets. They're all in all these different meetings. It's all public. It's all public knowledge, otherwise I wouldn't know. But you know what I mean? Keep it all secret. It's not right, is it? You know, I'm sure Hindman Leisure would have liked to know that actually Hindman Council don't pay anything for electric and actually get money back, because the wind farm at the top of Aussie generates more than enough electric for half of Hindman. And obviously Hindman Council don't own half of Hindman, so you know, they're on a 100% green tariff. That means they actually basically 100% they don't pay for nothing and then get money back and still charge all of the businesses. That's wrong, isn't it? Hindman Leisure basically needed that 400,000 because of their electric bill that the Hindman Borough Council charged. Ooh, very dodgy. Good job you're reporting. Report on all this. Whether you will or whether you won't, it's up to you. I mean, like, you've got to work for the place, haven't you? But end of the day, they're not secrets because you tell everybody in all the meetings. I just happened to film them all and remember, because I've got a good memory.
Just probably just as well, but yeah, the same day as Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister.
Are you the portfolio holder? No.
Am I the portfolio holder?
Yeah. No. Which one's the portfolio holder?
For finance.
For property. For like leases and things.
Sorry?
Who deals with all the leases and things? Is that?
That's Kath.
Kath? Alright.
I thought you were having a switch round today when I saw that.
Yeah, no,
So is that actually- I used to prefer sitting there at chair because you got these, you know, you do not part of circle. Yeah,
Bit like the House of Lords, isn't it? Like they just sit where they want. That's what it should be. You know, just sit where you sit next to the next person. You know,
I just try and sit where I can eat.
That's what they do in the House of Lords. Like, when they go for dinner and that, like they're not allowed to choose where they sit. You just got to sit next to the person that's sat there. You could be sat anywhere, yeah.
Very such you have your designated space, you know.
Oh, right, yeah.
Sat everywhere in that council chamber.
Well, I bet, yeah.
There's not many chairs, I can put sat.
Well, you know.
Tasha's working late, so...
Like I say, you would think it would be that way around. It's like 90 degrees, you know? It's like turned around a little bit, hasn't it?
What do you mean you've got 3 kidneys?
I'm looking at that now.
Yeah.
I've got one or two, you've got one or two things.
Well,
Well, it runs for 3 weeks, and people have had, people have leaflets. It's not like, and I put it on Facebook. No, but I suppose it's only really Bolton Avenue upwards which should be concerned.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking, I'm still looking at it. But I can understand why they've done it like that, I'm not.
Is that the new road they're putting in? Have they started building that new road yet or not? In Huncourt?
They've got money, yeah.
Yeah, but they approved themselves 780,000 for pre-preparation work. They did. They got, because once the grant comes in, if they hadn't already started the work, they won't have enough time to do it.
Exactly.
So they've got to
They've only till
pre-preempt
next
it.
March.
So to basically got to preempt it. So they've awarded themselves 780,000 to get it up and running. So that when
Well,
if they do,
they've just voted 485,000. Some consultants, they're about 3 months
wasn't the consultants. They've
No,
got,
but I'm saying,
they basically said if they didn't spend £780,000 on pre-work for the road,
yeah.
if they get, because it's not guaranteed the grant, but if they get the grant, they wouldn't have time to actually build the road before it ran out.
Can we restart the meeting?
Hope they get the grant. That's nearly £1 million quid.
The purpose of this report is to submit recommendation for grant awards from the 23-24 Community Chess Fund. These awards benefit a wide variety of people and organisations in the community of Hindon, and it was a very, very difficult task sorting out these applications. In the light of the nature of the applications received, it was the view of the working group that the original intention to allocate the grant on the basis of £5,000 award is misguided. The reason that this conclusion was reached is that it is clear that for the most part of the organisations that made applications do not run on ward lines and instead offer facilities and services to beneficiaries that are much more rooted in communities of interest. Put simply, the types of organisations that apply for funding, e.g. cricket, boxing clubs, drama clubs, the Hindon Green Spaces Forum, the Sea Cadets, Scout Route, are open to residents across the borough and do not define themselves in terms of the council's electoral divisions. So that was the reason that we came to these decisions. So the recommendations are that we accept this report.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
As to that.
Okay. Clearly, there wasn't enough time to actually go through with every single one. I just went to Spring Hill as is part of my ward, and the original decision you made was £5,000 in each particular ward, and there's only £2,000 being allocated in Spring Hill. And I also say this item obviously is just come now, and one of the organisations who applied I am associated with, so I'm declaring that interest as well. I'd have thought that the original decision that was made, you should have kept to it. So the organisations who put the funding bids in should have been allocated. All organisations, all the work that has been identified there is very important, and if you're giving an organisation half of the money, I don't think they'll be able to get the other money to fulfil what the original intentions were.
I think that one of the things that we looked at, so for instance, Hindon Sea Cadets applied for a few £1,000s. What we did was top slice £100 from each of the wards, because obviously Hindon Sea Cadets catered for all for all people from all over the borough.
Because of my knowledge of the application that was put in by Ferngrove Residents Association, I don't know what their intention would be, accept or not, but the original application was sent in because they wanted to purchase equipment, and I think that equipment came to 1,700. Now if they only allocated £1,000, I don't know where the 700 will come, or is that money going to be accepted? That's the sort of thing I'm talking about.
So Councillor, I believe you do have a fund for County Council, so you could put some money towards that. And I'm not trying to get political points, but you do have a fund.
Yeah. How do you know that I've got money left in that fund?
I don't know that, but it was just an observation that you do have a members grant from LCC. There's also other grants at LCC. There's other league members, so you've got disabled league member, you've got young people's league member, I don't know what else you've got, but you've got quite a few that you can approach for funding. So what we've done is, if we've not accepted a bid, we've wrote down and gone through each bid and tried to push them towards where they could get allocated funding. But we supported 52 applications with 300,000 bids come in. So I think we've done quite well to get it down to 52. But also we're supporting some through the leaders budget as well. So if they can't be supported through this, we're supporting some through the leaders budget as well.
Is this Labour, this wards getting punished? You got 2,000 out of 5,000, Netherton got 1,900. Unbelievable. Is there, yet St Oswald get 4,000, St Andrews get 3.5. Is this blatant electioneering, which I'm saddened to see? With the terms of reference were clearly 5,000 per ward. Now suddenly it's been gerrymandered to almost things. And you talk about what I look at in Netherton, organisations like Martham Greenway. They're not even in my ward. They've been put in to across borough, and yet they've still been rejected. If Netherton had got its allocation of 5,000, organisations like that would have been supported. This was an opportunity to really empower community organisations, and I think they're going to be disappointed that ultimately it almost comes across as blatant electioneering. And this is nothing but brickless bingo, and that's what it should be called, brickless bingo. You know, you roll the dice, and if you're in his favour, you get the money. And that's, I'm saddened to say that the community chest has been descended into such utter, it's unbelievable. 1,900 out 5,000 in Netherton, not good enough.
Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Chair. Well, firstly I want to say thank you for doing this, because it couldn't have been easy. Did you mention there was over 300 applications? So there was quite a lot of anyway, so whatever. So you've distributed to the whole borough, which I think is fantastic. And I just wanted, you highlighted a few. I know we've got Councillor Parkins at the back of the room, and Jackie, and I know it's something they're quite passionate about to start in Uncourt, because
well, I wanted to say something, but it won't allow me.
I was going to bring in.
I'll bring me in then, please.
No, I'm to bring your leaders in and people around the cabinet table first.
Right.
Not on cabinet.
No, just basically say thank you for doing this for the borough, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Uncourt United residents through the dedicated for community website. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smithson.
Councillor Aziz, Netherton ward has been supported.
Not by the full 5,000.
So Great Ormond Football Club has been supported. It has been supported, though it's 5,000. There's other things in Great Ormond that support. Do you not represent the whole of Great Ormond?
Well, I represent Netherton ward.
Or do you just represent
Can you stop
Netherton
interfering, please, Councillor Aziz?
He's asking questions.
Right.
He's asking me a question.
Can you answer this question?
I didn't realise that.
Can you answer?
Definitely.
Can you stop, please?
Maybe I should be in charge.
There's a grant being given to Friends of Memorial Park. Are you saying that people throughout Harwood do not use that park? Do people in Netherton Ward not go into Memorial Park? Don't be so silly, Councillor Aziz. The money has been awarded to Great Harwood. Great Harwood has got its fair share.
So
can we look at Great Harwood Bowling Club? Does Great Harwood Bowling Club only have members from Netherton Ward.
And you didn't give
Great
anything,
Harwood
you
Chess,
didn't give anything
Great
to,
Harwood,
you didn't give anything
Great
to the bowling
Harwood
club.
Chess Club.
You didn't give anything to
Great
the bowling
Harwood
club.
Chess Club. Do people in Netherton not play chess? I think.
Brickcliff bingo.
No,
That's
it's
what
not.
it, that's, let's call it for what it is. Brickcliff bingo.
Can you stop interrupting me? Please stop interrupting me. You are so rude, Councillor Aziz, and not only that, you're boring. Councillor Eunice.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think with this kind of project, you can never please everybody because everybody wants, more than the other side, the other person or ward. I think this money has been appreciated. It's going to the different groups, 50 odd different organizations or different wards. I think it's not a political issue at all. In my ward, if money's gone in my ward, there's a Labour councillor in there as well. So I mean, it just doesn't score any political point. I think this has been an excellent scheme to uplift the very small organizations with a little money here, with little money there. They never could have imagined that they were going to get this kind of support. So really, I think we should be appreciative of that. And if Councillor Nodad didn't get hold of it, that doesn't mean that his part of division didn't get the rest of it. So I think money has been fairly shared. I've just seen quickly the report, and I'm so pleased that money has gone to small organisations which desperately needed that money, and which will contribute greatly to Hyndburn as well. So I'm really glad that this scheme has been implemented fairly, and I thank the chair and the people who dealt with this one, that they have looked at all the applications. It wasn't easy, and they made a fair judgment according to the applications and evidence they had in front of them. So I thank the chair and his team for this excellent scheme, and I think it will do a lot of good to a lot of organizations. So I totally disagree that this is a political point scoring thing. There's a lot of other issues that I can mention and I can speak about political point scoring, but this is not one of them. Small organizations will be, if they hear that what we saying, what you saying here, they won't be pleased with what you say, and maybe in your ward they won't be pleased with what you're saying. So I think small organizations are needed great help, and they got a great help, and I hope something like that in future will be distributed in Hyndburn as well. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Parkins.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, apologies to the Cabinet members and officers for blurting out in the first place. On behalf of Uncourt Forum, I wish to place on record that thank you very much for the grant what we've received. It will go a long way to get to further out in Huncourt to the people and what have you. I'd like to thank Mrs. Jackie Rostron for the bid what she put together. It was a hard job, but we did it together, didn't we, Jackie? So I'd just like to thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor
Chair, that's complete. This is what what I just said. Thank you for that. You just
Yeah, I mean, I do think many organisations throughout the borough will be very pleased with the grants that they are getting, just as Councillor Parkins has expressed. I'm sure that the other organisations will benefit.
Councillor Brickcliff, as much as I love to debate, I've got to be at an appointment, so I won't be 68.
Goodbye.
I don't want you to say, oh, he's run away, because I'd never run away from the challenge.
Okay. If you were on television, Councillor Aziz, you would be classed as interference.
I'm not the one making noise.
So, as I said, I think this will be very welcome to many organisations throughout the borough, and I hope that it will benefit a lot of people. And I move.
No, I'll second that.
Are we all agree? now return to item 14 on the main agenda and the exclusion of the public. I move that the public and press be excluded from the meeting for the reasons set out in the agenda. Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Vote, isn't it?
You can go there, Give me a minute to pack myself up.
So they don't need voting on. Does it not need voting on? He moved, he seconded. No, they didn't vote. No, they didn't have a vote.
Yeah, so can we move, can we get all agree?
There we go. Keep it all. Keep it all right. Good do. Fine then, innit?